Okay, hello, Christian woman, hello. Well, yeah, this is a Christian woman's platform, but I'll say it again. Anyone can benefit from this. So, here's how to set a boundary while you're dating. Because some people really find setting a boundary challenging, especially after they've always said yes. And this is a muscle you have to build. So, for those of you who struggle with boundaries, practice. Practice makes better. Practice doesn't make perfect. You're human. Especially if you grew up in a family where boundaries wasn't a thing. You know, you didn't see any one of the adults in your family practice healthy boundaries. You know, that's a non-verbal message that boundaries are non-existent. And this is how you do life. That is their perception, their perspective, and their internal narrative, but it doesn't have to be yours, but it became yours because you were raised in it. And so by the time you get into dating or, a job situation, adulthood, adulting, anything, you may be someone who finds it difficult to set a boundary. So what you can do is be proactive, especially in dating. For anyone, if you meet someone and you're having a casual conversation, you can just drop in there as you're talking. Yeah, I definitely, I have a routine. I like having a routine. That's part of self-care for me. And if you don't have a routine and you don't practice self-care, start figuring out what that is. What brings you joy? What brings you comfort, peace? It could be just reading a book. It could just be sitting there doing your toenails. Whatever it is, learn how to enjoy your time alone. So, and I have a video on that. People can be so lonely, they bring the wrong people into their life and they just make it worse. So get to know yourself and enjoy your company. So back to being proactive. Being proactive means you just drop in there casually. It's not an announcement. You're just saying, oh yes, I like to, spend time relaxing in the evening. I have a whole routine. I have to get up early for work. So typically by the time 5 o'clock rolls around, I shut down my phone. I watch a couple of my shows or I read a few chapters in my book. By the time I finish showering, brushing my teeth, all of that, I'm ready for bed around 8 or 9. So my phone's not even on after 5. That is a boundary. Okay, that's a proactive boundary, because what you're saying is, this is my schedule. So when they go to violate it, because some people will, either they're not listening or they're going to test the system. There are some folks out there that will test the system. Okay. And so let's just say somebody calls you 9:30 at night. You're compelled to pick up the phone because you might be a self-proclaimed yes person, people pleaser. This is how you practice your muscle. You don't pick up the phone. Actually, it shouldn't even be ringing. It should be on silent. It should be on do not disturb. Okay, you should have everything completed that you needed to do online by that specific time that you stipulated. That it's going to be different for everyone. I said 5 o'clock. It could be different for everyone. You don't answer the phone. You make that a habit, because what you're doing is you're teaching people that you stand by your word and that you have boundaries and standards. And it's actually, if the person is well adjusted mentally, it's respectful. And they may learn to do it in their own lives. Okay? So that's just one way you can proactively practice boundaries. Ciao.